Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Jaya. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Jaya. Girivarada Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Jaya Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Shri Radha Madhava Ki Jai, Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, chapter 23, Devahuti's Lamentation. Text is number 8. Please repeat after me. Anye punar bhagavato bruva udvijrimba. Anye punar bhagavato bruva udvijrimba. Vibram Shitarta Rachanah Kim Ukrurakramasya Urukramasya Vibram Shitarta Rachanah Kim Urukramasya Siddhasi Bhunkshva Vibhivan Nija Dharma Dohan Siddhasi Bhunkshva Vibhavan Nija Dharma Dohan Divya Narai Durgadigan Nripa Vikriyabhi Nipa Vikriyabhi Divya Narai Durgadigan Nripa Vikriyabhi Anye Punar Bhagavato Bruva Udvijrimba Vibram Shitarta Rachana Kimuru Kramasya Siddhasi Bhunkshva Vibhavan Nija Dharma Dohan Divya Narair Duradigan Ripa Vikriyabhi Narair Nipanigrayavi Anye Punar Bhagavato Bru Vrijinda Vibram Shitarta Rachana Kimuru Kramasya Siddhasi Dharma Doha Divya Narai Anye Punar Jrimba Vibram Shitarta Rachana Kimuru Kramasya Siddhasi Bhunkshva Vibhavan Nija Dharma Dohan Nivyan Anye others Punaha again Bhagavataha of the Lord Bruvaha of the eyebrows Udvijrimba by the movement Vibram Shita annihilated Artarachanaha material achievements Kim what use Urukrumasya of Lord Vishnu Siddha successful Asi you are Bhunkshva enjoy Vibhavan the gifts Nija Dharma by your own principles of devotion Dohan gained Dvijan transcendental Naraihi by persons Duradigan difficult to obtain Nripa Vikriyabhihi proud of aristocracy. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Kardama Muni continued, what is the use of enjoyments other than the Lord's grace? All material achievements are subject to be annihilated simply by a movement of the eyebrows of Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. By your principles of devotion to your husband, you have achieved and can enjoy transcendental gifts very rarely obtained by persons proud of aristocracy and material possessions. Purport. Lord Chaitanya recommended that the greatest achievement of human life is to achieve the grace of the Lord, love of God. He said, Prema Punartha Mahan, to achieve love of Godhead is the highest perfection of life. The same perfection is recommended by Kardama Muni to his wife. His wife belonged to a very aristocratic royal family. Generally, those who are very materialistic or who possess material wealth and prosperity are unable to appreciate the value of transcendental love of God. Although Devahuti was a princess coming from a very great royal family, fortunately she was under the supervision of her great husband Kardama Muni, who offered her the best gift which can be bestowed in human life, the grace of the Lord, or love of God. This grace of the Lord was achieved by Devahuti by the goodwill and satisfaction of her husband. She served her husband, who was a great devotee and saintly person, with great sincerity, love, affection, and service, and Kardama Muni was satisfied. He willingly gave love of God, and he recommended that she accept it and enjoy it because he had already achieved it. Love of God is not an ordinary commodity. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was worshipped by Rupa Goswami because he distributed love of God, Krishna Prema, to everyone. Rupa Goswami praised him as Mahavadanya, a greatly munificent personality, because he was freely distributing to everyone love of Godhead, which is achieved by wise men only after many, many births. Krishna Prema, Krishna consciousness, is the highest gift which can be bestowed on anyone whom we presume to love. One word used in this verse, Nija Dharma Dohan, is very significant. Devahuti, as the wife of Kardama Muni, achieved an invaluable gift from her husband because she was very faithful to him. For a woman, the first principle of religion is to be faithful to her husband. If fortunately the husband is a great personality, then the combination is perfect, and the lives of both the wife and the husband are at once fulfilled. Om Jnanatimrandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashnamutare Srimate Bhakti Vikas Swami Nitramane. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashnamutare Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitramane. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gaurale Prachaneni Vishisha Shunyadi Pashyate Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare. Anye Punar Bhagavato Bhuva Udvijrimba Vibram Shitarta Rachana Kimuru Kramasya Siddhasi Bhunkshva Vibhavan Nijadharma Dohan Divyanarayar Duradigan Ripa Vikriyabi. Kardama Muni continued, what is the use of enjoyments other than the Lord's grace? All material achievements are subject to be annihilated simply by a movement of the eyebrows of Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. By your principles of devotion to your husband, you have achieved and can enjoy transcendental gifts very rarely obtained by persons proud of aristocracy and material possessions. So we are continuing here narration of this story. This chapter is called Devahuti's Lamentation, and we will hear that Devahuti is later lamenting to her son. Kardama Muni was very qualified, and Devahuti also. You have to be very qualified to get Supreme Personality of Godhead as a son. They beget Kapila Dev as a son who instructed his mother. And we read in previous verses that Kardama Muni he did severe austerities. This happened at the beginning of Satya Yuga, and in those previous times people lived very long lives. And Kardama Muni he went to Bindu Sarovara lake, and then he meditated for 10,000 years, it is said. And he had this desire to marry, and Supreme Personality of Godhead was very, very pleased with him, with his austerities, and he appeared before Kardama Muni, and he told him before Devahuti came that wife he will beget a wife, and then he did receive Devahuti as a wife, and and then we will read in next chapters that Devahuti she performed austerities, and Kardama Muni was very pleased with her austerities, and in that way Devahuti pleased her wife, and then Kardama Muni he by mystic power he did know that Devahuti wish was to beget children, and in that way Kardama Muni manifested one big palace in the sky by his mystic powers. Because of his austerities, Kardama Muni was very powerful, and he manifested this big palace in the sky. And Devahuti, because she did severe austerities, she was dirty, and her hair was matted, and she was not in a very good condition. And then Kardama Muni told her that she should take a bath in Mandakini river. Mandakini river was circling around Bindu Sarovara lake, and then Devahuti entered this lake, and in this lake there appeared many maidservants. And there was one palace there under the river, and then these maidservants took care of Devahuti, so to say, washed her hair, combed her nicely, and then she looked very, very beautiful. And when she appeared before Kardama Muni, he was very pleased in that way. And then they enjoyed for many years in this palace, and they beget nine daughters, and then one son appeared, Kapila Dev. He was Supreme Personality of Godhead. And this chapter is called Devahuti's Lamentation, because then Kardama Muni left the home. He left to do austerities, to visit holy places, and Kapila Dev, he instructed his mother, because she approached him, and they knew that this is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. His mother knew, and in that way Devahuti approached her son very respectfully, and she told him that she is very very influenced by these modes of material nature. This material attachment is very strong, and then these material gunas are very had very great influence on her. So and in that way she inquired what could she do, and then Kapila Dev he gave very nice instructions that we will hear in later chapters, and he was describing this sinful personalities, and he was describing that Sankhya philosophy, that we are not this body, we are spirit souls, and this reincarnation and law of karma, and that he was also describing that a child in a mother's womb is suffering actually, that the mother is eating all kind of things, and if she's eating something very very hot, very spicy, it is very painful for the child, and in that way there are many also that child in a womb is in a very difficult condition, and in that way Kapila Dev was explaining to her mother that we should take seriously this devotional service to God, and in that way we could get free from this material world. And it's interesting that Devahuti immediately knew that her son was Supreme Personality of Godhead, not like Krishna. When Krishna appeared, Nanda Maharaj he didn't know actually that this was the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Mother Yashoda, because they wanted that this lila is there, that this Vatsalya rasa is there, that parental love is there between them. Because we know that when Krishna was eating dirt, then Balaram told to Yashoda that Krishna is eating dirt, and then Yashoda asked Krishna, "Is this true?" And Krishna said, "No, it's not true. They are lying." And then Yashoda Mai said, "Open your mouth." And when he opened the mouth, she could see all the universe is there in the mouth. But she immediately said, "Close your mouth." She like Krishna wanted this to preserve this Vatsalya rasa, to preserve this parental love, because if Yashoda Mai, if she knew that this was Supreme Personality of Godhead, then immediately she would pay the obeisances, she would respect Krishna in that way, and Krishna didn't want that this happens. And Prabhupada is saying in this purport, generally those who are very materialistic or who possess material wealth and prosperity are unable to appreciate the value of transcendental love of God. We know in Srimad Bhagavatam and in scriptures that people who possess material wealth, that they are very proud. And we have this story of Nala Kuvara and Manigriva. They were sons of Kuver, and Kuvera was in charge of keeping wealth. So he was very very wealthy, and also his sons normally were very very wealthy, and they felt intoxicated by this wealth, that they were very rich, and they in the heavenly planets they enjoyed with young damsels, young female demigods, and they were bathing, they were swimming naked in one lake. And then Narada Muni was coming there through this close to this lake. And immediately these demigoddesses, they felt ashamed, and they covered their naked body with the clothes. But Nala Kuvara and Manigriva, they did not cover their naked bodies. They just stand there naked. And Narada Muni was offended, and he told them, because you are like trees, because trees are naked. You are just like trees. Then you should become trees. And immediately they fell. These demigods, they fell from their position, and they became the trees in Vrindavan, Yamala Arjuna trees. And these twin trees, they were growing in Yashoda Mai's backyard, so to say. They were there on their property. And one day, Yashoda Mai was churning butter, and she took a very special milk, because she thought everybody complained that Krishna was stealing butter from other gopis.